If you're an average player, you want to be left alone, all right, because you want to be able to slide by. If you're a good player, you want to be coached. If you're a great player, you want the coach to tell you the truth every day. Did I hustle on that play? Did I make the right read? Did I play the guy with the right leverage? You want to know every play, because you know why? They want to be perfect. Everybody here makes a choice to do one of those three things.
Welcome to the GOAT Consulting Podcast, a podcast dedicated to people striving to be a GOAT, the greatest of all time, serving it up in a way that you can get it in all stages of life.
Welcome to everyone watching or listening around the world. I'm Spencer Tomsett, alongside the professor, the mentor, the coach, the friend, the man of so many different hats, who just said to me in between the episodes that the path to success is not convenient, and he's very much right, but he excels at it so well and makes it look easy. As always, Dr. Colby Jubenville.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
I've never seen him smile so big.
I got chills.
And in spirit is Tyler Burnett, the CEO, the founder of the GOAT family of brands, GOAT Turf, GOAT Publishing, GOAT Imprints. I'm sure they're going to be goats at some point. They're going to sell some goats and everything. He's driving the Sprinter around somewhere and such. We give our best thoughts and condolences to Tyler Burnett. And as always, the calming force to our show, the lover of Kentucky bourbon, particularly Buffalo Trace, though I'm sure right. I can get you turned with, I didn't bring it today, but the Coy Hill High Proof bottle I got of Jack Daniels. I think I can get you turned on it. But the LinkedIn Whisper, the GOAT Whisper, Captain Kintsugi, as it's nicknamed and everything, and repping the triathlon he was just a member of for Music City.
The season has started.
As always, in the words of Doc, John Byers.
John Byers.
We're winding down season 2, I just heard.
Did Dev Digital know that?
Yeah, well, they did, because they work on the back end for the show, the website and everything. They're good sponsors.
They work on the back end of almost everybody.
Oh,
digitizing the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Go check out Dev
Serving
Digital.
up in a way you can get it.
Oh, yeah. Just like Waffle House, we are sticky, and we do serve it up in a way that you can get it in all stages of life. In the singles, start the game 0 to 9, 10 to 19, your doubles, enjoy the game. In your 20s, you get in the game 30s, move up in the game 40s, because the 30-year-olds are so damn good. You have to stay in the game. And in your 50s, the research shows, you ask yourselves, what is it I really want? GOATs, so easy to see in sports, so easy to see how they elevate the play of everyone else around them. In business, so you could see it are those who provide unique perspective, unique education, unique experience. It gives them and other people energy, and it creates new levels of challenge and opportunity. And with that, as usual, John, go ahead.
I think it's just worthy to say that our friends here at VCE Productions are fantastic. Davey, our senior,
and he has a last name. What's his last name?
He's enjoying Chipotle right now. He starts the clock at the beginning of every episode so that we know exactly when to start, when to stop. I mean, he is on top of it. He is the wizard behind the curtain.
That's right.
But full of courage and valor and
Chipotle.
Bravery and Chipotle.
Never skimp on the roasted corn salsa.
Davey, how you doing over there? You okay?
You doing good? We need to get Davey a mic.
So proud
of the podcast.
He falls into the doubles.
He does.
He's having fun.
Yeah,
he does need a mic.
He's enjoying the game so far. He's starting to get into it a little bit, just like you're advising with your son, Jack. Is he 20 yet?
Jack's 20.
So you're not telling him to get in the game. Yeah, he is. Literally and figuratively, since he's with MTSU's basketball team.
That's right.
Has he played? He's played a few games now for MTSU.
Well, he hasn't. He redshirted, but he did walk on and make the team. And he sends me texts, and some days he's up and some days he's down. But what a great experience!
Story of our life.
That's right. What a great experience to get out there and play Division I college basketball. I really love the way you introduced us, Spency, as our good friend Marilee Kick calls you. And I love the fact that you took it upon yourself to think about the singles and doubles, because, man, that's so true. And I'm going to have to use that now for the rest of my career.
It is. It's so good. It was John, just a cherry on top.
It is. It is a cherry on top. We're going to continue on with our discussion with Spencer Tomsett. And the idea behind the show was around the fact that most people in their 20s, they're taught to get in the game, and they're taught by other people. They teach us to get in the game.
Yep.
Spencer decided what game he wanted to get into, and he shared with that in the first part of this show. He shared the defining moments, life's defining moments. 80% of life's defining moments happen before age 35, and at 23, he certainly had some.
Yeah, go back and listen too, whether you're on Pocket Cast or Spotify, Apple. Tell your friends, tell your lovers. Spencer Tomsett, episode 77, I believe.
77 and 78.
And he's on his way to the University of Alabama, the Crimson Tide, as part of their communications PhD program, and hopefully going to be sitting next to Eli Gold and calling some plays for the greatest football program in the world, the Crimson Tide.
So we are 6 minutes in and have not introduced the main topic here. So I'm just gonna do that. I'm just gonna say it's worthy of our time, and we're just gonna just singularly focus on this one topic right here. And one of the very first thing that I learned about Spencer Tomsett, Colby said, check out his LinkedIn profile, look at the title. I looked at it, and it says some iteration, I don't remember off the top of my head, but future Super Bowl commentator. And you have masterfully built in your vision into your identity. Mm-hmm. And to me, this is an episode around, and I want to hear some practicals from you. You know, anybody that listens to the show knows I'm a big habits guy, so I want to hear about, and it's almost like you've seemingly like willed it into place. Like, I believe that's going to happen. Like, it is a matter of time before you can put that on your business card and scratch out future Super Bowl commentator, because it just is going to be a thing.
Yeah, and I recently spoke to a group of people and came to this clarity as part of what I teach. But a personal brand, to me,
that's what it is
a feeling that other people have about you.
Yeah.
That's what a personal brand is. It's the feeling that other people have about you. And when you meet Spencer and you hear his story and you saw what he just did, you say to yourself, my feeling is that he is going to do it.
Yes.
Is that he is going to be on the Super Bowl, and that you and I are going to be at the Super Bowl when he is.
Because we'll have a friend there. And let me just take a quick interjection right here. About a month ago, I asked 15 people, because I was wanting to know, what is my brand? I asked several folks that I worked with, majority of the folks I worked with. I asked Colby and a couple others, what's my brand? It was a very cool exercise. I would encourage our audience to do the same thing. And maybe the question that comes from that is that matching up with your own vision?
Yeah.
Is your brand and what others view of you matching your the identity and vision you're hoping to build for yourself? Spencer, how have you done it? I want to hear some practicals that go into that.
Practicals.
Another Steve Harvey concept is where it comes from. He mentioned, I think he pulled it from Proverbs or one of the books that he's read, where it's that make your vision clear, and if you proclaim what your vision is, people will flock to you. That's where the aspiring to be the play-by-play commentator for the Super Bowl on CBS, NBC, ESPN,
it's
Fox
very
or ESPN
clear.
came from.
It's short. It's clear.
Yep. Clear, short, concise frameworks. That, as you like, frameworks, repeatability, and everything. But that's where it comes from. Is from Steve Harvey. In that I make my vision clear and I tell people exactly what I want to do. Because that's another thing that I'll have to show you guys in my car. So I mentioned on the last episode, my main job is with Uber and Lyft. From what people tell me is that this is one thing that most Uber drivers don't do. I have placards on the back of the car that have a bio essentially about me, saying, "Welcome to my car. Thank you for choosing the ride share." And it basically talks about what my goals are, my aspirations, such, and it says on there and everything. It says on there, and he's laughing because I showed you these.
Because I know it works. I guarantee you, he gets bigger tips than other people.
And it absolutely works, because so many people say, "I've never seen this before. Best of luck to you." And there are people who say, "I know you're going to do this. I'm ready to see it." And there's of course the people saying, "Are we going to be on the Super Bowl list when you get the tickets and everything?" I tell them,
they've got a long line.
I told them
to
that.
Stand in.
But what it comes down to, and keyword before you mentioned it on the podcast, I've been trying not to use the word "but" as that introduction of the opposites. I've started more consciously using in my text, saying "though" or "yet" or using semicolons and
That's
such.
the same thing, Spencer. You
agree.
got to continue to evolve.
Yeah,
you got to
exactly.
and. You got to get to and.
It is I use "though" because when you say "but," that's where more consciously people have on that stuff. So with the rideshare placards, I also have on there, if you want to follow my broadcasting journey, here's my social media. And I just ordered new ones that have a QR code on it to my Linktree, which has all of the social medias and such on it. But
Linktree.
Now you can include on there that you are an alumni of the
Goat Consulting Podcast.
highly recognized guest.
I will add that to the Linktree on the top thing.
You're in the bosom. You're in the bosom.
Yeah.
And I added to there because, again, the more you
What the
tell
hell's
people,
a Linktree?
it's where it's, you know how on
you've
Instagram
done it.
profiles,
You've done it
yeah,
now.
you've done it. Linktrees are basically you click one link,
Gone and done it.
Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube,
Gotcha,
all that.
gotcha.
It makes it so that you don't have to provide.
Okay, so
multiple.
Clear Vision.
I was thinking Oak Tree.
So I tell that clear vision
Clear
to people
vision.
on my ride shares because when you tell your vision,
yeah.
they flock
What's
to it.
next? Clear Vision, and then
Oh, you're talking about the personal
heart.
brand in
Practicals.
that. I guess selflessness would be the word I would use to it and everything. Because as I mentioned, it's all while reinvesting more into those that have invested in me. Because again, it's not. What's more fulfilling to me is I'm looking forward to the day I get to change the bio on my social media profiles that says the play-by-play commentator for the Super Bowl on whichever network.
Selflessness is in, like, you met Jim Nantz and you said, hey, like, if I can ever do anything to help
and you sent
just
him a
let me
birthday
know.
present.
Yeah, I did. I gave him, Jimmy Kelly's Steakhouse. I sent him a gift card.
I believe he gave me one too.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this question. In terms of practical, in my 20s, I never felt hopelessness. I always woke up and had a sense of urgency every day. I didn't know how to be successful. I knew what I wanted to do. I didn't know the steps, but I had a sense of urgency. You have a sense of urgency about yourself. You wake up in more than just a sense of urgency. You're intentional with what you ask for from others and how you invest in others. Why is it that for the most part of your contemporaries, that they don't have that sense of urgency and they don't intentionally ask and they play this game of confusion and chaos? Where did they learn that? Do you see it? Do you agree with that?
I absolutely agree, and I can't speak for 100% of people. I can't speak on behalf of other people. I can only talk about what I observed and what I've learned. And this is where, as I mentioned on the last episode, it ties into John Taffer and love bar rescue. Love the idea of seeing people who are failing and pushing them beyond what's expected of them and everything. He's got a book, and we'll have to swear on this podcast.
Boy.
Fantastic. The book is literally called "Don't Bullshit Yourself," to the point where they had to put an asterisk on one of the letters in BS on the cover, otherwise it wouldn't publish. They wouldn't be able to do it. So it's called "Don't BS Yourself," and it's about tackling the excuses that we make to not change. And his main quote, he says, "I don't embrace excuses, I embrace solutions." But his main shtick is that excuses are the common denominator of failure. When you give an excuse and you blame something else, you have no reason to change. Another movie, I don't know if either of you have seen the movie Whiplash. But it is a fantastic movie about how this kid in college is training to be a drummer, and the instructor, who's played by J.K. Simmons, he won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in it. The kid was playing on drum set. It was jazz band in college, and he, I think, messed up a note or was on a wrong beat. He threw a chair at him. And threw a chair at him and everything. He asked, "Why do you think I just threw that chair at you?" And the kid didn't understand why, and he started getting emotional and crying and everything and pushing him. And later in the movie, it's revealed, because eventually the kid spoke out against him in a legal case, and he got removed from, I think it was Schaefer University was the name of the place. And he explained that the truth is, people don't understand why I was at Schaefer. I was there to push people beyond what was expected of him. And I forget which artist he named. There was a story where a guy messed up his saxophone solo. The instructor threw a chair at him, and the kid cried his eyes out. But from there, what did he do? He practiced and practiced and practiced.
That's what I tell my kids. That's why I throw chairs at you. Like, just get it right.
There's a
But
time, place, and
hold
manner.
on. But don't you think we need more of that? Don't you think we need more of throwing chairs at people?
Yeah, some similarity, some
Some version of that.
Some version
of it. But what he said was that
I'm being serious.
Yeah, what he said was, what did he do? He practiced, and then he performed the best damn solo afterwards. And the quote that sticks out to the most to me that connects to John Taffer is he said, "I tell you, there are no two worse words in the English language than good job. Because if the chair didn't get thrown at that guy and you told the kid good job, he thinks, you know what, I did a good job. And how would you not get the next Charlie Parker was the musician's name that had that and such. He's like, we wouldn't get the next Charlie Parker if you just tell him
and we
good
throw
job.
that around. I mean, that's beautiful. We throw good job around like it's commonplace. When what do you mean by a good job? You know,
well, I think the missing piece is truth and kindness, right? Which we've talked about this on an episode, right? Like, clear is kind. You know, Brene Brown, I say this all the time. She interviewed 100 of folks in the top, Fortune 100 companies, CEOs, and the most common theme was we have a nice problem here. We equate not telling the truth to being nice.
Yeah.
There's a difference between politeness, niceness, whatever you want to call it, and kindness. Clear truth-telling is kind. And I feel like we've blurred a little bit of the lines of think and do not say. So I want to bring this up, but I want to say one thing as I wrote down, as I think about who you have identified yourself with, how you've masterfully built in your vision into your identity. What does that look in my own life? I remember when I started doing triathlons about 12 years ago, I would most often tell people, like, I'm not a swimmer. Like, I'm learning, how to do triathlon. I'm just not a swimmer. And I said that for years until finally it hits me like, wait, like, I've done 27 triathlons. I can't really say I'm not a swimmer anymore, like, because I've done that. So the thing that just triggered for me is I started saying I'm becoming a swimmer. That's what you've done that I think for me connects so deeply, is that you've kind of willed it, and not in like this way that's kind of out to lunch kind of approach, but really you're like willing your dreams and your visions into place by saying, this is what I'm going to be. So I think that's super cool. To me, it's saying I'm becoming something, not I'm not something that I'm doing or trying to do.
I think the practical is that we're taught traditionally that change happens in people in think, feel, do. And what change happens incrementally with you is in do, feel, think. Think about in your early years at the Christian school where they said, we need you to do this, and you did it. It changed the way you felt about what you could do, then changed the way you thought about what you could even accomplish. I think we've got to get people to do early on and take steps.
I 100% agree. In fact, I feel like maybe at some point I brought this up on the show. Like, there was a time a few years ago in my life where it hit me that, and I think you articulated it just now really well. Most oftentimes we don't do things we know we want to do, or I don't like the word should, but maybe we should do whatever, right? Because we don't feel like it, right? Oftentimes for me, what I've learned is that the motivation comes after the doing starts.
No doubt.
And I believe that where we fail most often is that we don't feel like doing something, or we're not motivated to do something, and so therefore we don't ever start. To me, most of the time in my life, it's the doing that helps bring my heart, my motivation along.
The momentum. It's not the motivation.
Momentum along. Like, the momentum doesn't get me to the start. It's the start that gets me to the momentum.
That's right.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's I have this kind of struggle with people that the people that are close friends in my life and everything, is that trying to help them
as a
understand
Gen Z,
that
other Gen Zers.
Other Gen Zers, and trying to help them understand this concept of that. It ties into that. The excuses part and everything is when they blame something else, like I don't have the time, or I don't do this, or that kind of stuff. It's no,
I'm not a swimmer.
I'm not a swimmer. It's that you don't want to be a swimmer. The moment you change your wording and blame yourself and look in the mirror and say, I'm failing because of me, then you have to change, because I have not met anyone who likes to view themselves as a failure. But when you give excuses to it and say, I don't have the time for this, it's no, you haven't made the time. I'm not if you say I'm not motivated to do this, you're right. You're not motivated because you're being lazy.
What I hear so often, and it's not just in Gen Zs, it's millennials and many others, right? It's not any specific, but maybe more so in some of the doubles and, as you put them, or the 20s, like, I'm failing because of something else.
Excuses.
There's somebody else to blame. Like even my son this morning on the way to take him to football, he was like, I couldn't find my stuff because of Mom. And I said, wait. I don't even know what you're going to say next, but don't. Like, you can't find your stuff because of you. So
Jack texted me after practice at the old D1 school, and he said, I did awful today. And I wrote back and I said, some days are like that.
But you know what?
Yep.
He showed up.
And he said, it's so hard. And I said, yes.
Yep.
It is.
Because here's the thing.
And you know what? Yeah. Letting him sit in that.
Yeah.
And feel that.
Yeah.
And make sense of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You went, and that's the tough thing is, I'm not a parent. I'm not a parent. I will understand that hopefully someday and everything.
You know
and
of.
I know, gosh, we're going there. No. But this is like the Waffle House sticky moment. We're starting to get derailed. Thing. But
right. About to go to five songs. But
here's the thing. It's such a tough line as a parent where you question where did I say the right thing in this moment? Did I need to? One of the greatest lessons I learned, which is partially another one of those defining moments and such. There's a professor at Columbia State Community College that helped define, and he broke down that all things in life, decisions that are made. Systems that are in place and everything, they come down to two things: inheritance and merit. They come down to inheritance and merit. It's where are you given certain things?
Yeah.
Another untactful way of putting it is some say it's silver spoon in the mouth.
Yeah.
Do you inherit stuff or do you work hard to achieve those things you have?
Yeah.
So you have that tough line as a parent in that moment with your son. You're wondering, do I give him what he's looking for, which is, you did a good job, it's not as bad, or that kind of stuff? Or do you tell him that, yes, sometimes these days are bad and everything? And I'm sure there are times where you've been harsh on him and said to yourself, maybe I was too harsh on that. I'm sure there's, moments where it's like, I did the right thing in this regard and all those kind of things. Because we as humans, we look for reassurance. That's the other thing about telling yourself you're a failure in the mirror. If you have a friend circle that's there to support you, and you have people in your life that are supposed to challenge you and help you grow in everything. You surround yourself with the people you want to become. If you surround yourself with people, when you complain to them, they don't kind of reality check you, and they're more so all the time of like, oh, I'm sorry this is happening to you. I don't appreciate it. It doesn't deserve to happen and everything. Then you think, I did nothing wrong. I need to change that. And there are some instances where you are in the right. I'm not saying that there's anything 100% wrong in that, but you have to make sure that you have people that are checking you on having the right balance of you did the right thing in this case. Sorry it's happening to you, or you didn't do the right thing in this case. Sometimes it is hard, and you have to challenge yourself and put yourself in a situation for the future where this is never, ever going to happen again.
That's right.
All right, Spencer. We want to peel back one more layer of the Tomsett onion here, and we want you to share. We're going to honor our guests as we do, and you included in that now in the bosom of the
Goat Consulting Podcast.
GCP family.
GCP family. He's always been.
What are your 5 songs?
I made a list for it. I was almost about to make a Goat Consulting playlist just to be funny on that.
I think you need to.
Any of your guests. That should be a good idea for the podcast. Is all of your guests make a playlist of all the songs. I know some of them named bands and gave some general stuff, but
mini
playlist, mini mixtape.
The GCP.
I remember those things. Remember the 8 tracks. But 5 songs. So my top 2 are from my favorite artist, The Weeknd. I'm going out to see him in Atlanta when he's performing at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Top one is I Feel It Coming. It's gotten me through a lot of rough days, a lot of tough times and everything, just the melody and everything. It also has my other favorite artist.
It's a good thing Marilee in here.
It's my favorite other artist, Daft Punk, who they just disbanded last year, shortly after the Super Bowl halftime show, and it's a fantastic song and everything. Second one is Less Than Zero. As a motivational thing. Again, part of that worst thing in the English language is good job. Anytime I make those accomplishments, there's a brief moment of other people celebrating me, and I'm like, it's all right. Next thing. That's what I told people when I got my master's degree. 3 down, 1 to go. I told them that same thing, and they were like, you have to be thankful about this stuff. I'm like, it's another accomplishment, but it's not, I'm always going to push myself to greater heights. So less than 0. There's a song called Finish Line. It's off of Elton John's The Lockdown Sessions that he just released last year. It was Elton John and Stevie Wonder.
Oh, wow.
So it's, I shuffle Elton John a lot of my rideshare routes in the earlier days of the week. Elton John, the Eagles and everything. Yeah, the
Eagles. Good for you.
Oh, yeah. My dad raised me on classic rock. But the Finish Line is a fantastic track. There's some other good gems on the Lockdown Sessions, which definitely all the consulting Billy Goats. Make sure you go out and listen to those. But Finish Line is fantastic. Walk of Life by Dire Straits. That whole album, Money for Nothing, it's Brothers in Arms. Money for Nothing is the second track on there and everything. Yeah. But Dire Straits, that anytime I start a road trip, it's first the Brothers in Arms album, then it goes into Green Day and a lot of other stuff on the playlist. But that whole album is fantastic. But Walk of Life, and then final song by the Eagles, very fitting, Get Over It. It's a song off the albums. I love the one line where it says, "But the big bad world doesn't owe you a thing," and it talks about excuses that people make to try and justify their bad. Get over it. This should be the goat karaoke podcast at some point.
The goat karaoke podcast. All right. Well, hey, there it is. I mean, changing the idea of just getting into the game, teaching us to get into the game. Spencer Tomsett is intentionally creating the game after he spent his singles, doubles, and now he's 20s intentionally getting the game. Spencer, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you take us home, my friend.
Again, I'm very appreciative of you guys considering me even worthy of being a guest on this podcast.
Hey, let me tell you something. I've taught a lot of people, and you're special, and the world is going to be better because you're in it.
I appreciate
and
that.
We're thankful for you doing this, and we're going to be more thankful when you get us those tickets. So go ahead and take us out of here.
I appreciate the warm words. Never as special as you are, but I appreciate the warm words in that regard.
Thank you, sir.
For Tyler Burnett, traveling from afar, as well as Davey, our producer over here, eating his well-deserved Chipotle, as well as on behalf of Dr. Colby Jubenville and John Byers and Spencer Tomsett, saying this is the GOAT Consulting Podcast.
Boom.
Boom, boom.